This BBC interview with Jarrell Big Baby Miller gives you an insight into his mentality and into the way he views Anthony Joshua as a fighter, his perception of Anthony Joshua as a person and as a fighter. He praises Tyson Fury because he says that Fury, essentially what I'm getting from Jarrell Miller is that he believes Fury is a real tough guy, but he believes Anthony Joshua is someone who's been brought up with a silver spoon in his mouth, basically, and protected not only his whole career, but his whole life. This is the perception that Jarrell Miller has of Anthony Joshua, that he hasn't really been through any hardship in his life. And so that's going to show in the ring. He believes that Tyson Fury has been through hardship in life. And one of the reasons that he respects Tyson Fury so much is because, of course, he was Tyson Fury's sparring partner several years ago. And seeing Tyson Fury, meeting him face to face, he understood that Tyson Fury wasn't impressed with Jarrell Miller's story about being from the Brooklyn streets and all that kind of business. Tyson Fury don't give a damn about that. You're in my country now. I'm sure this is how Fury saw it. You're in my country now. You ain't got no guns with you. All you've got is your two fists. Well, I got my two fists too. I'm not impressed. You know, you can leave all that I'm from the hood stuff with you at the door because it don't impress me. And Tyson Fury, I'm sure, won Jarrell Miller's respect in those sparring sessions if Jarrell Miller didn't already respect him at the door. Jarrell Miller is one of those guys who you're probably going to have to win his respect. He's somebody who doesn't give up respect easily. You're going to have to hit him with some hard shots and, you know, force some respect out of him. Anthony Joshua is obviously yet to do that. So Jarrell Miller feels that there's no reason to change his perception of AJ as this English muffin, this guy who's been protected, wrapped in cotton wool, a silver spoon in his mouth type of guy. And that's what you get from this interview. I do think that Jarrell Miller's perception of AJ is more than a little off. I don't think AJ is the cream puff that Jarrell Miller makes him out to be. But this is Jarrell Miller's process as a fighter. This is how he psychs himself up for a fight. This is how he makes himself confident. He looks at a fighter in a very similar way to Tyson Fury. He looks at a fighter and he tries to ridicule the fighter in his own mind. You know, when a lot of people look at AJ, a lot of opponents, for example, they see a huge guy, 6'6", chiseled, in shape, athletic, punches hard. They get intimidated, a lot of them. Whereas Jarrell Miller looks at it as, you know what? Yeah, he's a big guy who's chiseled, but he's like a model. You know, he tries to flip that and see the reverse of it. He's like a model. He's not a real tough guy. He's a model. He's a pretty boy. He's a, you know, G-string wearing, centerfold posing Playboy model. You see what he does there? This is how he kind of diffuses Anthony Joshua in his own mind. He diffuses the threat of AJ in his mind by ridiculing him, by making fun of him. Tyson Fury does this with opponents. Muhammad Ali used to do it with opponents, most famously. Jarrell Miller is the same. He tries to defuse the opponent in his head before he steps in the ring with him. It's a psychological technique to maintain his own confidence. And confidence is very important, of course, in boxing. You don't want to be completely deluded, because if you're completely deluded, then you are going to underestimate opponents, and that's going to lead you to coming unstuck. Is Jarrell Miller going too far with AJ? Is he underestimating him? Is he underestimating the heart that AJ has? The tenacity that AJ has? I can understand why Jarrell Miller feels like he can break Anthony Joshua in terms of breaking his spirit, because he's broken the spirits of many big men. Johan Duopa, Marius Wack, etc. He fought in K1 for several years, and K1 is brutal, people. If you don't know about K1, get to know about it. It's brutal. So he fought in K1. He's fought very big guys. in his professional career, and he's broken these guys. He's imposed his will on everybody he's fought as a professional successfully. He's not somebody who goes in there and like outslicks you and outboxes you and you're chasing after him and making it difficult for him, but he manages to come out with a decision. You know, even like a Tyson Fury early on in Fury's career when he outpointed Derek Chisora, went life and death with McDermott twice. Jarrell Miller doesn't have experiences like that in his professional career. He lost in K1. I remember he lost to Crow Cop in K1, but he was the one pursuing Crow Cop the whole fight. He was still trying to impose his will on Crow Cop the whole fight. And the same thing in his pro career has been him imposing his will on everybody. Some fighters have been relatively successful in surviving or moving away and being elusive enough to not get stopped by Jarrell Miller. But nobody has stood toe-to-toe with Miller and successfully backed him off. Nobody's done that. So in Miller's mind, nobody can do that. Particularly not somebody like Anthony Joshua, who's not especially slick. You know, someone like Anthony Joshua, who in his mind is just a pretty boy, is a guy who's had it all his own way, had the red carpet silver spoon treatment. Not a guy who's from the rough Brooklyn streets, but a guy who's from suburban Watford in England, you know? So I can understand where Jarrell Miller's confidence comes from to a certain extent. But if he does underestimate AJ and has absolutely no respect for him at all, no respect for what he can do, no respect for his heart, he may be in for a rude awakening. All right. At the same time, AJ must not let his own team, his own followers gas him up to the point that he underestimates Jarrell Miller. He mustn't do that. And given how AJ's career has panned out so far, I don't think he will do that. The fact that he is apparently setting up his training camp in New York is a good sign that he's taking Jarrell Miller very seriously, and he needs to. So, yeah, an insight into Jarrell Miller's mindset, the way he views Anthony Joshua, is contained within this interview. So I encourage you guys to go read it. You know, he talks about his physique because people often criticize his physique, Jarrell Miller. He says that his body is a machine. It's not as pretty as AJ's, but that his work rate in his boxing is 10 times better than AJ's. He squats, deadlifts, and bench presses and bicep curls twice as heavy as AJ, and his condition is twice as good. Yeah, Jarrell Miller is very physically strong. He has great stamina. He trades on that. He trades on his physical strength and on his stamina rather than boxing ability, punching power, etc. He's got a certain amount of power there, but he's really not punching his weight, I think it's fair to say. And in fact, the interview, which I recommended in the other video I uploaded today regarding Anthony Joshua and should he get a new trainer, there is an interview which I showed in there. I didn't play the interview, but I showed the video on the YouTube channel, True School Sports. I showed it on screen, just a still image of it. And in that video, Stacey McKinley, the interview with Stacey McKinley, he talks about how when Stacey McKinley was training Mike Tyson, Tyson could hit much harder when he was 218 pounds than he could when he was 230 or 240. Yeah, much harder. This is something I've been saying for a long time. In fact, maybe I'll do a separate video about that with regards to Deontay Wilder and his punching power. But anyway, let me know what you guys think about this particular article and Jarrell Miller's attitude towards Anthony Joshua. Is he underestimating Joshua? Is he not giving him enough credit? Or does he secretly deep down know that Anthony Joshua is better than he's making him out to be? But he's just going through his process of not only selling the fight and selling himself, but also psyching himself up for battle, because this is how he does it. He has the same mental approach as a Tyson Fury or a Muhammad Ali in the way that he will ridicule and poke fun of his opponent in order to diffuse the threat of that opponent in his own mind. You know, it's a psychological technique. Anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. It's happening, I'm out. Join me on Patreon I upload a minimum of 2 podcasts every single week, covering a wide variety of controversial topics, as well as live stream Q&A sessions. Take a look on screen right now at some of the podcasts I've produced so far. For just $3 a month, the equivalent of about £2 a month, you get access to all my new podcasts and my entire back catalogue of past podcasts, including my popular Confessions of a Nightclub Bouncer series. You can listen on your computer or on your smartphone or tablet by downloading the Patreon app from the Google Play Store or the App Store for free. The Patreon app also allows you to download each podcast in MP3. For less than the price of a cup of coffee, you get access to dozens of hours of exclusive content. It's easy to sign up, there's no contract, and you can cancel at any time. So come and join our community of free and critical thinkers by signing up with me here on Patreon today.